And Two Coaches, One Grizz is back for this week's episode, which I think is gonna be saucy today, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
We're good. It's glad that we could pry you off of whatever it is that you've got going on with so many things in your life to get you back onto the microphone.
Sir, we're not gonna talk about my personal life and my day job.
We're not.
You, sir.
I'm just saying, it's about time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, wow, Grizz.
Moving right along.
Grizz.
Nah, we need you. We can't form, we can't form Voltron without the head.
I hear you.
You are the head, man.
I hear you.
You're the Morales. You're the Frank.
Listen, I'm flattered and I'm humbled. As much as I want to curse Coach out here on air, we're not going to do that because I love him.
Must be civil.
Yeah, but he knows what week 0 of the football season is.
Listen,
so,
bottom line is, if you mess with the Gill, he might give you the left, and then you got to be careful with that left coming with a little kick from the bottom.
no, yeah, the counter.
You know what I'm saying?
The counter, the little
be
bob
careful.
and weave.
Little jab, boom, come with a
bob
kick.
and weave with the
it's
blind
all
side.
and it's all over.
With the blind side to
It's
the
all
side
over.
of the face.
It's all over.
Listen, as we digress, okay, I do, like, as I mentioned, I think today's episode is going to be pretty saucy, okay? We got NFL, right? We're going to check up on the AFC North and give a preview there leading into the season. We got a little bit of NBA drama as the world turns in Durant's life. Our NFL, our NFL soap opera, as we like to cover.
Our weekly check.
Our weekly check-in. And but we have to lead in with the fireworks of the UFC card this past weekend. Edwards versus Usman, a huge upset. As the Grizz says, he just got to throw the sprinkle on whatever the coach gives him from now on. But huge underdog. What was he? Plus what?
He was plus 279.
Plus 279.
He ended up closing at 279, which is what we got him. He had gone down all the way down to 250. I must, first and foremost, I got to thank God for that one. Because without him, nothing is possible. So with that being said, the Lord blessed us. We saw a pretty decent fight. And as we talked about it last week, the Grizz and I, it was a value bet. It's a fight that going in. The odds are not necessarily in your favor, but the odds are so big that it becomes a good play. And sometimes that's what it's about. We get caught up too much in the team and the fighter, and sometimes the odds tell us, no, wait a minute. You got to take these guys. These are the guys to take because it's just they're giving you too much money.
Yeah, it's a guy that hadn't lost in 7 years. You got to respect that.
So if you read between the lines, right, he thank God, that means that he did extremely well on that bet.
I mean, again, it's not that. I do listen.
Break it down.
I say thank God because I do praise him for that one. We were here. I started looking through it, and then I analyzed it. And again, I showed the Grizz the list, my UFC list. The number one guy is Leon Edwards. He's there. I've had him there for 4 years. Guy's a good fighter.
Now, for the lesser informed, if you were to take a gander and put $100 on Edwards, what would that pay out?
You get $279 back. You're getting almost 3 to 1.
You get math lessons on Two Coaches and Grizz. Yeah. I just love it.
We're well-rounded here.
We're educators first.
And again, like I said, I didn't think that he was a 3 to 1 underdog. I get 2 to 1, plus 200, okay, plus 225. I get it.
Coach, how much of that do you think was the hype, though? You get what I'm saying? Like Usman, right? A lot of the money was going on him.
Guys, again, we're all together in a group of chat, and we talk, and we hear guys talk all the time. And people fall in love with names, right? People fall in love with someone that's winning, doing a great job. He's been successful. Let's face it. Pound for pound, that guy's been the best guy for the last 5 years. No one's come close to him. He beat Woodley like Woodley was nothing, and he has not stopped. So again, yes, but then you have to put other tangibles in it, or intangibles. You have to compare. He's up to 35 years old now. This young man is 30 years old, 5 years younger, has good reflexes, is a good fighter, hasn't fought ducks. He is a good fighter. He's been around. The last time he lost was 5 years ago to Usman on a decision, 3-round decision. So again, he's not a slouch. Those are the fights that you got to look at. Those are the times that you take that chance and say, you know what? I'm going to sprinkle a little something on this underdog because he does have a good chance. He has the opportunity, and the price is right, which is always the key. The price has to be right.
And listen, it looked very promising that first round. He took Usman down for the first takedown in Usman's career in the UFC. And everything was like, thinking this is going to work out great.
It was rear naked choke. I was like, I could see it.
But
come on.
That woke Usman up.
No, it did. He did.
Rounds 2 through 4, he just handled him. If he wanted to take him down, whenever he wanted to take him down, Edwards did. Every now and then would put in a nice shot. He would get out of it. I mean, it was not looking great. Then we get to that 5th round, though. And it's still, and we talked about this earlier. What a corner. I mean, that corner didn't hold anything back. They threw expletive after expletive.
No, but they were real. They were real with him.
And hey, are you embarrassing yourself and the way that you fight?
Sometimes you hear these corners talk to the fighters, and they're unrealistic. They're like, "Oh, you're okay. You got to throw." No. These guys were factual.
However, he didn't look good still. The body language was everything you didn't want to see. Once again, takedowns. He got taken down a couple times. It's over. The one problem, Usman's just too aggressive. He just doesn't know when to, hey, hold on for a second. Let me, he can take it to the cards. We're good. You got to give it to him. He's a champion. He's willing to go fight. And he opens himself up, and then you can talk about it.
Well, I mean, again, and if you take a look at it, any time that Edwards moved forwards in the fight, he was successful. Anytime he moved backwards, he got into the octagon, and that's where Usman would take him down. In the 5th round, finally, he starts moving forward. He stays away from the octagon. He stays standing up. He's pushing the pace. He's not letting Usman dictate. And that's how he was able to feint with his left and come across with a beautiful left kick to the side of the face. And Usman was night-night. Night-night.
Listen.
It was incredible.
If he was an NFL team, he was down 3 touchdowns with a minute and change.
No, I'd say about
a minute and change.
Say 3.
I thought it was 17 points.
Sir, 24 minutes out of 25 minutes.
He was down.
That's a couple minutes left in the game. And down 3 touchdowns.
And we talked about it. He needed a rocky moment.
He needed a couple Hail Marys. He got some.
Adrian, I did it. He was able to pull it out.
I don't know if Hail Mary is the proper term. I would say more like he got a nuke dropped on him or something because
he had multiple Hail Marys. I'm just saying. There's not a 21-point touchdown, but basically that's what it was.
And again, and we've talked about it here in MMA, all you need is one shot.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's funny because if you look at Edwards, he was clean. He wasn't mauled. He wasn't beat up. Yeah, he had been taken down, but for whatever reason,
he didn't look like a guy that was destroyed.
Usman had not been able to hurt him. He wasn't able to ground and pound. I don't know if he respected him so much after the first round that he was concerned not to get too carried away because then Leon would switch it on him. Edwards would switch it on him. So that was to me, that was something new. And again, we go back to Nunes and her fight with Peña. She wouldn't go to the ground. She tried to avoid that. So again, Usman was not as aggressive on the ground as he's usually been. And I think maybe the first round had a lot to do with that. I think the way this kid handled himself, or this guy handled himself, did a great job. And it just, again, it gave us a great 5th round.
He held it together. He stayed his game plan. I get it.
Somewhat.
It just
somewhat.
Yeah. He needed like I said, he needed the Hail Mary to hit the winner. But I'm saying he's capable. He's a guy that was capable of it. This guy, Usman just took it, just 1-2 seconds his eye off of it, and that's all it takes.
He slipped. He made one move. His head went right when it should have gone left. And when it went right,
this is the type of stuff that happens in maybe like in a lower round, maybe not that much. This was against the best fighter, probably pound for pound ever in the sport. That's what makes it. It's an argument. You can go to the bar with this one.
Right.
And
he's one of the top
at the
guys.
end of the day, no matter how good this guy was, I mean, I was rooting for him. Besides the sprinkle, I didn't like, because, I wanted Masvidal to win. And it's funny that this is the new meme now. Because when Masvidal went to sleep, you're like, oh, it can't get any worse.
And now,
this one was pretty bad.
This was bad.
Because he was wide awake.
No, his eyes.
Smiling.
No, his eyes.
Like he was in Candyland, like, hey, things are going to be all right.
My favorite
It's amazing.
was, yo, They major pain this dude.
Yeah.
Sleeping with
So
his
it
eyes
was nasty.
open.
It just goes to show you, no matter how great you are, you too might be on a bumper sticker, man.
In this sport, yes. In this sport, you can definitely be on a bumper sticker.
It doesn't matter how great you are, man. You can fall to the bottom.
Quickly.
Puncher's chance definition.
No,
But you know what's great? And you know who loved it more than anybody? Dana. Cha-ching!
Oh, now the
trilogy.
rematch now is the trilogy now goes.
Because if he wins,
millions.
there was nobody left in that division for him. He was
Not really.
pretty much
There
cleaned
isn't
it out.
anybody there right now that could.
So this is the automatic rematch. They're talking about going to Wembley with this. This is ridiculous.
Well,
I mean,
that's where he's from. And
I
I'll
know
tell you,
that's where he's
if
from.
you
but
take
I'm
a look
saying,
at his story,
Dana doesn't like the whole outdoor stadium thing, though.
if you take a look at Edward's
knows
story,
about money.
it is a really good story. It's
Oh,
a
no, he's
rags,
got a great
rags
story.
to riches story. Troubled kid, youth. I mean, it's very interesting.
So my question to close this up for us is this the downfall of Usman, right? We've seen many of great fighters that have been labeled GOATs this is the anomaly. We're going back for the trilogy, or we're going to try to stay in the game. He's little long in the tooth. He's been around for a while. He's 35 years old. Is this the beginning of the end?
That's the one thing that is working really against him. It's father time. He is 35. He is a great fighter. I mean, he really is. Again, as I said before, I did peg him to be the next guy. He did a great job, and he's done a great job. It all depends how Edwards fights. If Edwards gives him the chance again, Usman can beat him. If Edwards presses the fight and moves forwards, Edwards will win the fight. He just cannot fight Usman's fight.
Right. But this is a results-based kind of business because one more minute, nobody says anything. They say he is the GOAT.
58 seconds.
He's
sir.
never going to be beaten.
58. 58 seconds. It wasn't one. 58 seconds.
58.
We were not even to a minute anymore.
I know.
58 seconds.
But what I'm saying is, you get to that point where he's like, it could still be the greatest. Nobody's ever going to beat this guy. He can hang it up if he wants to. To now, hey, is he done? The beauty is he's going to come back probably hungrier than ever. We're going to get an amazing trilogy
Can
fight.
he do what
you would
Nunes do? Can he do what Amanda Nunes
I honestly
did?
think he'll win the next fight for sure because he's going to come back and 100% not take this guy. You know, like at any point, obviously, I could get knocked. And he just needs to finish him when he's down there. Because that's the weird thing about him. He's known to be down there, and he's only had one submission. Like that's
because he gets them down, and he's a rock'em sock'em guy.
Correct.
He ground and pound.
But that
is
to
what
me
he
is
does.
a little bit, I didn't realize that's a weakness. That
But
the guy
again,
had.
but the thing is that he has he has not worked on his wrestling as much, and I brought that up last week. That I've been a
He's
little
kicking
bit
ass so quickly.
because
That's
and
the
they
problem.
fall in love with that.
Of course.
They fall in love with the punch. They fall in love with knocking people out.
What's better to see? The Masvidal knock, or you go to the dentist. Everybody wants that show,
There's a
and then
little
it happens
guy
to yourself.
There's a little guy named Khabib over there that he doesn't do that. He takes you to the ground, he mauls you, and
because he doesn't care about fame and all that. He just cares
wants to
about
win.
it's over. Next guy, I'm hungry. That's
He's
it.
a machine.
Doesn't matter.
I mean,
He's a machine.
You
He's
touched
not
on,
about
you
like
touched on it right now. Like they fall in love with the glamour, right? With the
The one-hitter quitter.
The society,
the
right?
problem is we
the
would all
highlight,
do that. So
right?
I mean, it's not like I'm really gonna like.
No, but the highlight, right? Like
It's just that's human nature. That's human nature.
Yeah, but you can't. But again, in that sport, more than any other, I don't think you can get away from your wrestling roots if that's what you are. If you are a Conor McGregor, I get it. You're a fighter. You're a knockout guy. That's what you do.
That's right.
But if you're a wrestler, brother, you need to make sure that you sharpen that side of your game while you're still working on your fight game and on your punch. Because again, fights like this are the ones that you really need to gear down, wrestle, and beat the guy to submission. Not let him last to the 5th round where he can hit you with a left kick and you're done.
No need to take him to the end. Finish him when you can.
And again, that's why I said,
Get out of here.
Like I said, his wrestling, he needs to get that aspect of it, and we'll see.
Speaking of getting out of here, NFL, as the world turns, Deshaun Watson, episode 6, 7, who knows? They tried to give
69.
him the, oof,
But
phenomenal.
Just as much as the women accused of
Dealing with him. They tried to boot him for the entire season, and as drama would work, NFL is a show in and of itself. He gets suspended for 11 games. Coach Grizz, why is that 11-game suspension so significant?
Well, he was suspended 6. And then they wanted the year. And then they decided, we'll meet in the middle, 11. When they originally said 12, and now I think the NFL goes, no, all right, we're going to meet at, no, we're not going to do 12. We're going to do 11. And you're going to go the first game, and you're going to show up and hear the most amazing, chants and love and support from the Houston crowd. And that's it. I don't know why I don't know why they would want the show. I think they should have tried to not get to the 12, but we got the show. And the bottom line is,
ratings,
it should have been
ratings.
I said 12. It should have been the year that Gil said. We're going to leave it at 11, I guess, and walk away. He got fined some money.
To be honest with you, I am I'm upset because, number one, the NFL started out with a 12 as an offer. And the Deshaun camp said, no, we're not taking 12. They got the 6. They appealed it. And then they decided to go ahead and waver and go down from 12 to 11. They should have stuck it all the way through. They should have massaged
the
situation and make sure that it got to the peak of 17 games.
To a climax
at 17 games.
So, for those of you that are not clear, the 11-game suspension, right, is significant because he plays the Houston Texans for his first game back, which we're not going to go through the saga again. You know why that is significant. Now, I'm going to take it one step further, what you were saying. They offered him 12 games. That's where they erred. That was the error. You need to say it's a year. And then you work down to 12. Not first offer 12. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's where they screwed themselves there.
I mean, I get it. But now I come back. When I appeal and say the 12 is on the table again. If you want the 12, we can settle at 12. If not, we're going to take it all away. And then you put the pressure on them to accept the 12 and end this fiasco instead of continuing to drag it out.
Correct.
Which, again, that's another reason I think that the NFL caved in, because they didn't want to continue to drag it out. They didn't want to continue to be hearing this for the next 6-7 weeks that he's suspended, his season, whatever the case is, or for the next 4 weeks while the magistrate made his decision, whatever. I think that's why they caved, because they wanted it to quiet down. They wanted people to focus on football, focus on the product,
right, not on the sidelines. I mean, speaking of product, how much of this is showmanship? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's one more game? Like there, I feel like, this is like an episode of like South Park or something else where they're like, 11 games, yes. And then the person who made the decision was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, crap. We messed up here. Like, they didn't realize the outcome until it was too late.
And sadly, if you hear him and you hear his press conference, he's not sorry. He is not guilty. He said, well, I'm glad I got this out of the way. I didn't do anything. It's not. So there's no remorse there.
Yeah, there's no contriteness.
There's no remorse. So again, the NFL loses out on every side of it.
I think it was a lose-lose situation from the beginning, Like, as soon as the grand juries said, we're not indicting him, he is clear by the law, it was going to be a lose-lose situation by the NFL. Because at that point right there, he was going to return as an NFL player.
No, but that's your choice. Don't forget that is their choice. Number two, as much as OJ and the glove didn't fit, he still got found guilty in the civil lawsuit.
Yeah, but the guy was already old.
I'm just trying. I get it. And now you've got a guy who has settled. The Texans settled. So if everybody's settling, why are we settling? We want it to go away.
Right.
It's the only reason people settle is because I want it to go away. No. I don't want the truth to be out there. I want to make sure that how much you need. Okay, well, how much? How much? He said how much 23 times. There's still one more.
Yeah, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die on that mountain?
So we'll see. What happens. We're gonna see where that goes.
Now, extrapolating this is a sports show. What the effect is on football specifically? Do you think that the Cleveland Browns can stay alive long enough to when he comes back, they have a chance? Oof,
It's hard to tell, just because of again, they have a great running game. They got good receivers. I don't know how much Jacoby Brissett can do for them. He's never been a top-notch NFL quarterback. I don't know how much he can do.
I mean, they do have all the pieces to be an elite defense this year. That's the only reason I would, I hesitate to say they have no shot, because that defense has elite pieces around it.
We are going to do the AFC North today, so maybe we'll put that off till we get there.
Oh, it's a good
and
point.
That way we can go ahead and delve into their opponents, what they're facing, and what they're looking at.
So you don't know. You're undecided yet.
Oh, no, I mean,
You want to answer this segment?
It's not that
you
I'm
want to answer the
undecided.
question in the next
I'd
segment?
rather when we break down the schedule and look at the meat and potatoes of what we have,
Nice.
then we can really dig in to this subject.
Interesting. Speaking of digging in, okay, Durant rescinds that trade offer to the Grizzlies. Okay. Again, this is getting old, right? There's another soap opera that's getting old. He doesn't want to be in Brooklyn. He's under a 4-year contract.
He doesn't want to be anywhere.
But that's my thing.
That guy doesn't want to do anything.
If you don't want to be there, you ask for a trade. You're under contract 4 years. You really don't have a choice. You get what I'm saying? Like if they find the trade for you, buddy, you asked out. Your options are limited at this point.
But it's over. They've talked about it. He's gonna stay. That's it. There's no more talk about that.
So he was just throwing a temper tantrum, is what it amounts to.
It's over. They apparently talked about it, and they said they're going to make it work for this season, try to win a championship, and then rediscover where they want to be next year. Regardless, he shouldn't have even been in the position. The guy signed this year, and then a couple months later wants to get traded. That's not how it works.
It's just he was throwing up his.
He's being poopy like he always is. He's always a poopy head.
He's a really poopy dude.
It is a different generation. This is how these kids work.
He's not a kid anymore.
He's not a kid, but he is unfortunately.
He's a grown man.
33, 34?
They are playing a kid's game, and they sometimes still think like children by the way they act.
I mean,
Kyrie's
Kyrie's a perpetual child. Kyrie's like that dog, that puppy that you neutered too early, and then he's just a little kid for the rest of his life. That's Kyrie.
Listen, the Nets didn't trade him, and they ended up saying no. So at the end of the day, he is going to play, poopy or not. But he's going to play, and he's going to play great. He's not that guy that's going to be like, I'm going to play and not be great. He's going to go out there and still be great. The problem is, will Kyrie be on board for that now? Because he's still kind of in the mix.
They're poopy at each other.
Yeah.
Now, again.
But they wanted to play together.
Bigger picture. Right, yeah. Like,
this is the thing.
You made your own bed, now you got to sleep in it.
All these guys want to play with each other 1 year, then they're like, it's not working out. I want to go somewhere else. This is where we're at. This is the new NBA.
Bed, you have to sleep in it.
That's why.
Listen, at the end of the day, you can hate on LeBron, but LeBron everywhere he's been has never. I'm leaving, getting traded. Every time LeBron signs a contract, he goes. Once the contract's over, am I gonna go? He honors his contract. But when you sign and you go within months, I just re-signed for 4 years, committing 4 years, and now I want to go trade me.
Oh, no, I mean, and again,
they were never going to trade him because look at what Gobert got. You got like a ransom for
that was ridiculous.
Five first rounders.
And
that was
Durant's
ridiculous.
What is that?
Durant's twice as much as that. At least.
Like what is going on there? That's insanity.
Hey, that's their own problem. That's why Minnesota's the Timberwolves. That's another thing. But Durant was never really going anywhere. It was nice to think, maybe.
Let me see how far I can push this. What can I do?
Once he wants to get traded, everybody's going to be like, hey, what you want, what you need,
you
what you got.
You don't not pick up the phone.
But if you're the Nets, you're like, all right, we want everything.
Right.
No,
if one team goes okay, fine.
That's the problem with the Lakers and Kyrie. They don't have anything.
There's nothing.
They have no trading leverage. They've got nothing there that anybody wants.
Yeah, a 2035
so they're going to end up running it back. And here's the thing: if they're all healthy and they play together, they're actually a really good team.
Well, see, that's. I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next question for the crew here. Big picture, right? You have Durant, you have Kyrie, and you have what's his face from the Sixers,
Ben Simmons.
It's been a long day.
Who
Ben Simmons.
he got his he had a problem with the Sixers that got taken care of, like some money that they
Right,
went
and he
into.
should be healthy.
So
He
right
didn't
now
play
they
because-
get out of it. Whatever he's gonna do, he's got to step up and prove it this year too.
But here's my issue with that, right? We're talking about that. That would be their big three, right? Of
course.
With Durant and Kyrie alone, anything is possible, right? Like they can win a championship with
You
just
want me-
those
you want me
two.
to tell you what I'm really
But
hoping?
what I'm saying is, here's the issue. Let me finish my thought. Is Ben Simmons is a point guard, so you have a 6'9" point guard who is a ball dominant player playing with Kyrie, who is probably the best handles to ever play the game, and another ball dominant player with Durant. Like, these are guys that need to have the ball in their hands.
I'll
Doesn't
address
matter.
that now.
Harden too was a guy that needed to have the ball.
I'll address that now, but I'll tell you what I really think, what I'm really hoping for. That the XFL and the USFL are really good, that way I don't have to watch any of that crap. And just watch the playoffs a little bit.
I mean, you're going to watch the
But
playoffs.
with
Coach.
that being said,
You're going to watch the playoffs.
with that being said, remember, Simmons is more of a distributor and a driver.
Yeah, Kyrie can play the two all day. He's got great handles, but he could be your two guard.
Correct. And then when they all can switch off, and then you give them a break, they sit. So they can, again, those three guys, if Simmons will ever finally get out of his shell or get out of whatever the hell is bothering
Yeah,
him.
the kid is talented. If
The
the,
kid
guy
could
steps up
be
to the
decent.
if he gets to
Right.
his talent level, and like 80% of his talent level is enough. If they all just play, they play. The thing is, they don't play together. These people are together, and they play like five games all year.
It's a theory still.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, and I had no clue. It was one of the weirdest things how Vegas had them so
Kyrie-
high up. It was
and Kyrie won't
the
be able
most
to go.
hopeful thing.
Kyrie can't go to Toronto.
Still,
'Cause Toronto won't. They won't change the law. They're still COVID.
2 games he's gonna miss there.
I mean, it's like,
But the bottom line is that you want to, his stance, okay? Like the bottom line is play.
it's still very much a hypothetical, right?
Yeah.
Like that team and what they put
Luckily,
together.
the East is not as stacked as the West is, so they have a better shot.
Basketball, unlike any other sport, is a cohesion
Of course.
sport. You need to know where each guy is at.
You can have one guy
so
missing.
you can feel good about the pass, about the game.
It's kind of like an O-line, right? Like you need to play together to gel and become a one organism, like an amoeba.
It worked out with the Warriors this year. Thompson was out for a while. You had Green out for a while. You had a little Curry out for a while. But you had guys that have been playing together for years that know each other. So you can do that. But people that have never played together, I don't care how good you are. They
came up. They came up through that system together.
Of course.
Playing together.
Yeah.
So there was no unfamiliarity.
I think, like I said, they're a dangerous team if they show up. If they just don't show up, they're just going to be, again, another waste of a year, and then we'll be back at this again next year when this guy wants out.
Oh, please, I don't want to do that again. On that note, all right, we're going to stop it right here. Our opening segment, I thought that was pretty fire right there. We're going to be right back with our AFC North division breakdown for the 2022 season. And we're back with segment 2 with our weekly NFL deep dive. Today we're going to do it on the AFC North division. We touched on it prior to the break. This should be a pretty interesting division, right? We got, obviously the Browns, who are in squalor, if you will, with their quarterback situation. The Steelers rebuilding, right? Something that we haven't
Total rebuild.
Something that we haven't seen from them in what feels like 40 years, right? I mean that's not out of the realm to say that. It's like been 40 years since they've been in a total rebuild. Okay, you got the Ravens, right? Which they have an elite situation that needs to be signed. Okay, and who else am I missing from there?
The
Cincinnati Bengals,
The
the
Super
Super
Bowl
Bowl runner-ups. Okay, I want to make sure I want to make sure I didn't say Cleveland twice there, but what do we think right off the bat? Who are we going to start with here? I know Gil's got his situation ready to rock.
I'm ready for whoever you want. Whichever one you want.
Let's just stroll into the Browns.
Listen, this isn't a Deshaun Watson situation, sir. Watch your words.
Sir, we're ready here.
Speaking of, let's jump right in with the Cleveland Browns. Make it happen.
Massage this division and get it out of the way. First of all, they are well because they do start the season off against 4 very easy opponents.
Well, their hardest opponent will be week 1.
Their hardest opponent will be week 1.
Yeah.
Can you tell
which
us
will
who
be
that is?
the
The Carolina Panthers
Panthers
on the road
and Baker
against
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
Serendipitous moment number 2 here.
So again, but if you're looking at Carolina, what they came off of, who they have, et cetera, again, it's an easy opponent.
It's an easy opponent, but it's still Brissett's going to be your quarterback.
You're right, but they're facing the Carolina defense.
They are.
They're going to be able to run the football. So it should be a good game. Cleveland should win the game.
Should.
Okay.
If they lose, they have 3 other teams.
No, then it
that
gets
are
better
quite
for them.
beatable, so
Home
they could
against
be
the
3-1.
Jets, home against the Steelers, road against the Falcons. For having no Watson to start the season, you can't ask for 4 games to start off with. I got
And
you.
then they hit the meat of the schedule, which is the most difficult stretch, all the way
Pretty bad.
through week 12.
Pretty bad.
And it is. You've got the Chargers, you've got the Patriots, you got Baltimore, Cincinnati, Miami, at Miami,
At Buffalo.
which is always a difficult thing to come down here. At Buffalo, Tampa Bay. So again,
Wolf.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
Wolf.
So you start off with 4 easy ones, and then you got the next 7 that are a little rough.
But relative to the rest of the schedule, easy.
Yes.
See, again, and I was talking about this, and I hesitated to say that they would be out of it by the time Watson comes back. But I don't think we're not focusing on the defense enough here. I mean, they have Myles Garrett. They re-signed the Javion Clowney. They have Denzel Ward, who is a bona fide corner. They re-signed Anthony Walker. They're getting Chase Winovich back from the Patriots. I mean, this is going to be a very, very, very solid
so
defense.
what you're telling me to do is take the under in all these games because they're playing the Chargers, who got a good defense.
Good teams.
They play New England.
Good teams win. Great
Teams cover. But again, we're talking about the under. New England, their corners are they're depleted there. But again, they do have a good defense. The Ravens should be better this year. We expect the defense to be better. The Bengals defense is a bend don't break defense. The Dolphins defense, again, same defensive coordinator, better parts. Buffalo, their defense is solid, and Tampa Bay's defense is solid. So they're not playing easy defenses. And then they're playing a Chargers offense that can score, New England's offense, which we'll see how that works out. You have a Baltimore, which is a conference game at Baltimore. Baltimore should be healthy and should be able to play well. The Bengals defense, which again, Bengals offense, which again is a solid offense, is going to score points. The Dolphins, that's a question mark. Buffalo puts 35 on anybody.
Bonafide.
And Tampa Bay with the GOAT if he's healthy.
All right, so brass tacks.
After his 10-day vacation.
I mean, starting those 11 games without Watson, I think the best they can hope for is 6-5. That would be ideal.
That would be ideal.
And then you got 6 games that if this guy comes back to, could be a playoff push.
That could be ideal.
Right, so...
But again, how rusty is he going to be?
Honestly, I think it's going to be a 4-7 start.
Okay, so brass tacks, right? Their record last year was 8-9. You're saying 4-7 start. Do you think that they're right around that again, 8-9?
Yes.
Or do you think they're below that?
It all okay.
Are you taking the over? What's the over under?
I would never take the over under with these guys.
What's the over under?
Let me see, because it's been updated since they did not have
massive swings here based on the suspensions.
Of course, it's all about Deshaun. It's all about the Deshaun situation.
Yeah, I mean that's. Can they be 6-5 when he comes back and then make a push? I mean, I think that's where we're all hanging on here, right? And that's
I don't know how they go 500 through that middle part of that schedule. I really don't.
It's gonna be.
I really think that they're playing some really tough teams.
It's gonna be a grind. But who knows? I mean, listen, Jacoby Brissett has been a serviceable backup when he stayed healthy. You know, he got in work with the Patriots, with the Colts. Hey, he hasn't lost games for teams.
I found them at 9.5.
Right. Their over under still hasn't been posted.
I see the under there. 9 is the max.
Yeah, if it's 9.5, I would take the under. I really would. Especially, and they don't end the season. The last 2 games are easy, but then they got to play Baltimore, they got to play the Bengals, and they got to play New Orleans.
Yeah.
So those 3 teams again are tough teams,
and
tough
you're
defenses.
expecting Watson to come out of the gate playing crazy. I don't see that. So
Exactly.
Doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if he wasn't suspended, they have a very solid offense.
They're all lumped in there. As I see, the Bengals and Ravens are also at 9.5, and the Steelers are at 7.5. So they're all bumped pretty close. Obviously, the Steelers being the lowest there, but I mean, I can't see the Bengals. I mean, we're gonna get to them now, but
all right, let's jump right into it. Let's look at the Bengals going into that. Right,
Yeah,
last year they were 10-7. Obviously, Super Bowl runner-ups, losing to the Los Angeles Rams. And we talked about it, right? We talked about this all the way leading up into the playoffs. The Bengals looked like a dark horse Super Bowl team. And they came through, right? And they made good on that, on our predictions. Okay, again, 10-7, right? Notable re-signings and acquisitions. They got Hayden Hurst, okay? So that adds another big target in the middle of the field for their quarterback, okay? They got Eli Apple. They re-signed him. He had a good season for them. But defensively, La'el Collins was big, right? They got La'el Collins from which bolsters their O-line, which was their Achilles heel, right? Like, that was the weakest point, or has been the weakest point of their team since then. They got offensive guard Alex Kappa, okay? Great, one of the top 10 guards in the league right now, okay? So that's huge for them, all right?
Which is where they had leakage.
Leakage, if you will.
Leakage. Depends.
It also,
leakage.
It also doesn't help that you're going against the best defensive lineman
Leakage.
in the NFL
Leakage.
during the Super Bowl. Okay?
Yeah, but they had leakage the whole season.
They did have leakage the whole season. They did. All right? Again, I think their acquisitions outweigh their departures. I think they got stronger overall. Again, their record is 10-7. Okay? Do we see a leap from this offense?
The biggest issue they're going to face is they no longer get to play an easy schedule. They're now scheduled to play the most difficult schedule of passing defenses and the 7th hardest strength of schedule in the NFL.
they're also not a team that gets looked upon as easy win.
Overlooked anymore.
Or it's just the Bengals. No, we're playing the team that got to the Super Bowl. So they're going to get everybody's best shot.
They're favored. Mm-hmm. They are going to get everybody's best shot, Grizz. You're absolutely correct. So again, to me, that changes things. That changes now how you defend, how you play, what coverages, blitzes, etc.
Joe Burrow's also getting better too. Remember, he was in his second year.
But don't forget, though, lately, and if you take a look at the trend over the last
year 3,
7 to 10 years, year 2 has been the big leap for quarterbacks. If you take a look over the last 7 to 10 years, the trend has been that year 2, the young quarterbacks, those rookie quarterbacks that are playing, take that big step.
Can he keep improving? Okay. Again, he was only year 2. His season ended early the year before. Still a very young quarterback. He's only going to get better. Jamar Chase, right? Like, go ahead.
They're loaded with weapons. I think he will be better. Here's the problem, though. Like you said, the last 7-10 years leap to. There's also a lot of the team that makes the Super Bowl and loses usually has a down year.
The hangover?
They usually have the hangover year because, first of all, they got there. Are they satisfied? Sometimes. I don't think so. I saw an interview with the trio receivers. They look hungry. They look like a bunch of guys that want to get better. So I have it's just that, will the defense step up? I think they have a good defense. If I'm correct there, Gil, they're coming back with a solid defense.
Yeah. The defensive players come back.
They just have to realize that they're going to be playing a tough schedule. Nobody's going to keep them lightly. Burrow has to excel. He has to go to that next level. And like you said, the second year is where they make that leap. How's their third year? So I still think they go over the 9.5 because someone's got to be over that. But I just don't know if they're going to be good enough to get back to the Super Bowl.
So let's look at their schedule.
They're going to do well the first 11 weeks or so. They should. Again, it's not a very difficult schedule. It's after week 12 where things get tough. After week 12 is where things get serious. Because the first 10, 11 games, they'll play Pittsburgh twice. Mm-hmm. They'll play away at Dallas. They play the Jets. They play at home against Miami. They play Baltimore, New Orleans. They play Atlanta. They play the Cleveland Browns without our boy. They play Carolina. And again, like I said, Pittsburgh. From week 12 on, they end up playing Tennessee, Kansas City, Cleveland, which sucks, Tampa Bay. But again, that's week 14. That'll be the second week where our boy, the massage expert, will be coming off, and that'll be a second game back. He'll be at home.
A massage aficionado, sir. You're right.
And then Tampa Bay, New England, Buffalo, and Baltimore.
Yeah, that's a rough stretch there. Those last 4 games are rough. Correct. Gonna be tough.
Yeah, I still see them winning 11 though, man.
So you're going 10.5 here. For your personal over
10.5.
You're going over.
That's his call.
Well, I'm saying 11. I'm still getting the 9.5. I'm not going.
I think
that's not how that works, sir.
I understand how it works.
Yeah.
I think they win 12 games this year.
I'm saying over to the 9.5 at 11.
Well, you know what? Let me say something to you, though. I'm going to say this. Looking at the odds right here, the 9.5 is juiced to minus 140. Okay? It hasn't been moved to 10. And in my opinion, the reason it hasn't gotten moved to 10 is because they feel that they're a 10-win team. Because if not, they would move it up to 10, make it minus 110, 120.
Yeah.
Okay? But at 10, you can push. At 9.5, you lose.
Correct.
You get me?
Right.
So I think that's where the rubber meets the road. They're between 9 to 10 wins.
Right.
That's where they're being looked upon.
Yeah, that's where it's
9
kind of
to
like
10.
It's capping right
9
there.
to 10. Again,
Definitely.
you're seeing juice at minus 140. That tells you that people are taking them. That's the more popular play or where the money's at. But they don't want to move it from there because taking under 10 is where the money is.
Of course.
No, 100%. No, and it makes sense. Now, you see them in the playoffs? I think everybody agrees here that I think we see them in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I see them winning the division.
Oh, yeah, I think... Ooh.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be the Steelers or the Browns, so it's either them or the Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens.
And
Here it comes,
I believe
baby.
it's the 10-win team is the Ravens.
And the Baltimore Ravens. I do think that's where I think the division lies.
All right.
I think it lies with Baltimore.
I couldn't agree more.
I think they'll be healthy.
Yeah, they're not going to have 17 ACL tears before the season starts.
You would hope not.
Because I'm looking at the athletic training staff in the sports medicine department there. How do you have that many ACL tears in one season?
They're favored in 11 games. Their over-under is 10. And against the over 10 is juiced at 135.
Listen, I'm going to tell you the acquisition that I love for them was Mike Davis. I think that is the personal protector for Lamar
he's a
Jackson.
bruising back. He's a good...
He's a great back.
Well, he's a bruising back. He sucked in Atlanta. I picked him up last year in fantasy. He sucked in Atlanta. But again, it's not. I don't think it was his fault. I think it was the offensive line. And
you guys are both Ravens then. You're liking the Ravens too?
Oh,
Bro, that guy's a Lamar Jackson.
How many wins did you give the Bengals
That
right now?
guy's a Lamar Jackson fan.
I think
What's wrong
they
with you?
have a chance at 12.
So you think the Bengals have a chance at 12?
If Mr. Morales
if you
could
think the
massage
Bengals
Lamar
hold on,
Jackson,
hold on.
he would.
I'm trying to get my math here.
I got you.
If you think the Bengals have a chance for 12, you're thinking the Ravens have a chance for 13? Is that where you're gonna go out on the road
they're
here?
in the same neighborhood.
Oh, sir.
I'm giving the Bengals up to 10.
Okay, but
I do think Baltimore can go
You think they
11,
win
11 to
11.
12. Right?
Maybe
Between
12.
11 and 12.
13 though?
No, I wouldn't go to 13.
They finished 8
Again,
and 9
I'm
last
saying
year.
you're giving 12. You're giving this AFC North a lot of wins.
No, I'm going
No,
11 to 12.
those top two teams, I think. Remember, okay.
Because
the
here's the thing. As bad as the Steelers, when we get to the Steelers, they're still the Steelers coached by a guy who's never had an under 500 team. And they're still
they're about to have an under
There's always a
500 team.
first time.
It's
Oh.
happening. It's happening this
Sadly,
year.
But they will still, I guarantee you, upset these teams. They
It's
will,
happening this year.
you're going to get an upset against the Ravens or
Listen,
the Bengals
you
by the
coach,
Steelers
you coach
for
long
sure.
enough, you're gonna get one of those.
Okay.
I'll tell you that right now. But I'm telling you, man, their record
Still
was
won't be surprised if he doesn't.
their record was 8 and 9, and still in the first half of the season, they were what? I don't know, 6 and 1, like so crazy.
Who was the record for
They
who?
were the number one team in the
Ravens
AFC.
was 8 and 9,
8 and 9.
but they started super white
No,
hot.
listen.
They
While
did.
Jackson was healthy, they were the number one team in the AFC.
Correct.
They were in front. They were ahead. The problem is when Jackson got hurt, they went 1 and 5.
Okay.
So again,
But you think this is an elite quarterback?
I think they're gonna.
I'm not saying he's elite, but he is the cog that makes them work.
Of course. Hopefully he sticks around.
You get me? That's my whole contention. Like he is, again, it's like Allen with Buffalo. He's the guy that makes them go. Patrick Mahomes, he makes them go. The offense that they've built in Baltimore is
They
It's
can't
Lamar.
put anybody else in
it's
there.
Lamar.
It's all Lamar.
It's Lamar.
See, I have to interject here and say that I think that they've done Lamar Jackson a disservice in his development over these last few years in not developing or putting an offense in there that can accentuate his. I think they're relying too much on his ability to make a play. I think he does have the ability to be an all-around elite quarterback. And he was proving that as much when he was healthy last year. Again, the wheels fell off the wagon literally for that team. I mean, legit. Like, I'm not. And 17 was a joke, but I think there were 7 ACL tears on starters or significant contributors last year.
And looking at that, yes, they should have better injury luck. There should be a regression to the mean. They should be healthier. They should be able to play a healthier season. There's no doubt about that. Okay. Again, as far as you expounding on his passing prowess,
His eliteness.
his elite passing prowess, the guy is a short quarterback who has to play in a somewhat mobile offense so he can get out around and look and throw. He's got a great arm. He does a great job with his tight ends. Again, his receivers have always been the ones that are a question mark. They got rid of his best receiver, the guy that caught the most yards for them. So we'll see how that
Hollywood
goes.
Brown.
Who's better, him or Burrows?
No. Okay. As a pure passing
Who
quarterback,
would you take?
Burrows.
Watson or Jackson?
No, right now I would take Jackson.
Right now.
Right
But
now.
if we get Watson from 2 years ago.
Oh, I mean, I think that's a no-brainer.
Okay. So he'd be the third best quarterback in the division. And don't look out when we talk about the Steelers, who I'm
Let's
going to
see.
talk about.
Let's see. But remember that the Ravens had the Texans, or was it the other way around? Right? Like they've been in battles, and it wasn't Lamar Jackson's fault that they've lost those games. So
I don't think they go.
Listen,
They go 10 wins. They'll make the playoffs.
The great thing is that to start the year, okay, they're going to face Zach Wilson, Tua, Mac Jones, Allen, who's a stud, Burrow's a stud, Frankie's quarterback over in the Giants,
whoa. So Frankie's nothing. Don't label that guy.
Brissett, okay, the GOAT, who's a stud, okay, and Jameis Winston. Out of that, you got 3 really good quarterbacks, or 2 guys that are really good, 1 guy that could be good, but he has been interception prone. Mm-hmm. The other guys are all second-year quarterbacks, third-year quarterbacks, second or third. Zach's a second, Tua's a third, Mac Jones a second, Daniel's second or third. I don't know. He sucks. It doesn't really matter.
I see.
Brissett.
They start.
So that's where I'm looking at. That it looks like they could almost pretty much. I mean, New England. I don't know how good New England
I
is.
see them going 5-4.
See, I think they're more 6-3, maybe even 7-2, just because of the run defenses that they're facing and their efficiency.
Well, we just got to see them. I just
And then
don't believe
they
they're
finish
gonna-
the
they're gonna stay
season
healthy.
sweet. The season
No, if they do it right.
the second half of the season
they lost their last 6 games last year to finish
correct.
the season.
Right.
So, yeah, they're going to want to not do that this year.
Well, their
But they
schedule's set
definitely
up to win.
They have a schedule set up
Yeah,
to
their
win.
last 6-7 games or
I mean, out
I
of that,
I still think they lose one game to Pittsburgh no matter what
they've
because
got
it's
2
just
tough.
that kind
They've
of
got
game.
2 tough teams in that last, which I'm going to call Denver tough.
The
because
Bengals
of
on the
also
road
defense.
to finish the season.
Right,
Could be
and
for
that's
the
that's the
division.
second one I'm talking about.
Could be for the division.
Okay, so again, they are my dark horse to win the division.
I just don't see them.
I like Baltimore.
This division winning more than 11 games is going to be the champ.
I mean, the thing is, they do beat each other up. It is
what
the
I'm
black
saying.
and blue division for a reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Steelers are your worst team, you still have a team that's, it's not that much of a walkover. It just isn't. And last year the Ravens were 1-5 in the division. So
Yeah, but that was when this guy, their quarterback was hurt. Again, you have to look at the complete.
That was an
You
anomaly.
got to look at the complete picture. It's like 2 years ago when Burrows went down, right? Burrows, Cincinnati was playing well when
Absolutely.
Burrows was playing. He went down. You can't compare.
You can't.
The finished product because of that.
I think it's a toss-up between the Ravens and the Bengals. And then you have,
if the Browns get lucky and win those games and for some reason stay afloat, then they're going to be dangerous, obviously. If they come out with anything, if they're 7-4 after that gauntlet for some reason, then they might even win the division.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling confident.
Now,
Bengals.
Bringing up the rear is, right, and this is weird even saying it.
By the way, I just want to put this out there. Baltimore is at plus 105, and the Bengals are at plus 140 to win the division. So Baltimore is pretty much a pretty good favorite.
Because
there you go.
Even Vegas is just like, nah, last year was a fluke.
No, it's not that it's a fluke. It's just that, like I told you, the schedule changes so much.
Yeah.
You went from being a bottom dweller to now you were the second team in the NFL. Your schedule changes completely.
Of course.
Go ahead, bringing up the rear. As we said, it's Pittsburgh Steelers. They finished 9-7-1 last year. Okay, Big Ben retires. Okay, you had the Pouncey twins out. All right, who else left? Let's see. Let's go down the list here. Ben Roethlisberger, McLeod, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington, Eric Ebron, Trey Turner, Trevon Tuitt.
Ben is addition by subtraction.
Yes, 100%. Joe Hayden's gone. Right, so did I say Stephon Tuitt already? I think you did. He retired as well. They're full rebuilding mode. As I said, first time in about 35, 40 years we're in this situation.
I mean, they've had under 500 teams, even with Coward, they had one. But the fact that for 20 years, I think, is it? When did he come?
They've had 3 head coaches in their history.
17. No, not in their history.
Yep.
In the last 3 years.
Look it up.
Not in their history,
Steelers?
bro.
The Steelers have had 3 head coaches. Bill Cowher was the second head coach.
3 or 4 most.
No,
they only haven't.
No, they've had more than 3.
Sir, look it up.
No, I mean,
I would like to bet your whole family on this.
Oh wow,
wow.
Yeah, that's how.
Why would you do that?
I'll bet my family and everything that I've ever had.
Okay, continue talking on your breakdown. We're gonna revisit this.
Man. Don't say asinine comments.
What are you talking about?
3 coaches in their history.
Yeah.
You know that they've been around since the 30s, right?
Okay.
So
I'm talking about since the okay. I apologize.
Since the merger.
He's talking about the NFL.
Come on, man. It's
since it became he says the
NFL.
I understand what he's trying to say.
Count in the last. Yeah.
No, but
trying to say something.
Since the 60s, they've only had 3 guys.
Yes.
All right. Continue. So full rebuild.
Their coach, full rebuild first time. But even with a full rebuild, they were a playoff team last year. They might have backed in, but I'm telling you, and I called it. They drafted the guy that I called, Pickett. He's looking at almost even taking the job.
Yeah, and again, it was.
You never know, man. It was just against. Never know.
It was against the threes and whatever late in the game, but he looked.
People are looking
tight.
You're not supposed to not look good, though. You're only supposed to do your job.
Who's looking really good is a receiver. Our boy from Georgia.
Yes.
Pickens is looking savage. He's making plays.
They've made good choices really drafting people.
My only concern,
and it's a system.
My biggest concern is their lack of offensive line play. Their offensive line sucks. They were 30th in the run last year, 31 in the pack. They're horrid. And they didn't do anything. They didn't make them better.
No.
They didn't pick anybody up.
They got worse.
So if you're going to play a rookie quarterback, the O-line is we go back to Burrow. Mm-hmm. The biggest friend that he can have, or the best friend that a rookie quarterback can have,
is an O-line.
It's a good offensive line. Tua has been garbage here because the O-line has been garbage.
Yeah, they did not draft well.
Again, and those are all things that you have to look at. That's why I don't think that Pittsburgh will be able to really get over the hump this year, get into the playoffs. As much as I like Tom, as much as I respect him,
no, they're not getting.
I think he does a great job
at all.
I mean, even having a winning season to me looks really.
I still think they get to 7, but I'm saying when you're at 7, few games here and there, 9-8. Not that they make the playoffs, but
9-8 would be a winning season.
Correct.
I disagree.
And the thing is, they can't do the 8-8s anymore.
They're gonna go 8-9, 7. I think 7-10 is
That's
a
what
solid.
I'm saying.
7-10 is a solid.
Maybe the team wants to play.
I don't want to.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't want to draw any sort of comparison to Ben Roethlisberger's rookie year, but they were saying, "Oh, new quarterback. We don't know how they're going to do." All they did was go to the AFC for freaking championship.
Right, and it's funny that you allude to that because that is something I'm reading right now. The problem is that this offensive line is the cheapest offensive line in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Back then, he had some players.
Yeah.
He had some guys with experience.
He had dudes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not drawing.
I think Alan Faneca
Correct,
was
sir.
playing and starting for him.
Correct,
and he was
sir.
the cornerstone of that old line.
Correct, sir.
Okay.
Correct.
So when you got
Correct.
those hosses,
Yeah.
that's a different deal.
He also had Jerome Bettis back there. He had Willie. What was his name? He ran like a 4.3 40. That was his other running back. You had Hines Ward, Plexico Burris.
I mean, okay, when you take a look at it and you say that the Steelers running backs average only 3.7 yards per carry.
Bad.
That's ridiculous.
Boo-boo.
And you got a first rounder. You got a stud in Najee, who he is a stud. But their line just isn't good.
We're talking Troy Polamalu heydays.
I mean, it's just
Wow. Yeah, man, that was a serious team.
bottom three in yards per carry and success rate.
Going back to in the modern history,
In the last 53 years, they've had three coaches. But
Since
they've
the
had-
merger.
Don't try to get away from it.
No,
You said the
bullshit.
history-
You know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Do not get into
No,
that.
I see here 16 head coaches in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And what we consider the modern history of the NFL, the shit that matters. Sorry,
Sir.
expletives. I apologize.
Let's keep it clean.
Where's the dump button? It's been 3. It's been Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
After the other 13 head coaches, yes.
Yeah, when they used to be a side and pony show with the freaking Barnum and
I
Bailey.
understand that, but like, just come and say the correct things first, and then we don't have to
You know
recorrect.
exactly what I meant.
No, I don't have to know
Sir,
exactly what you meant.
Sir, bottom line, full rebuild. This is going to be boo-boo. Unless
Again,
Kenny Pickett's the next coming.
We're counting on Mitch Trubisky,
No, but in all,
Mason Rudolph, and then Pickett to come in.
but
at
in
the
all
end
seriousness,
to
I
try
think
to do
I
something.
think they're going to give Mitch Trubisky every chance imaginable to win that job and be the bona fide starter. But they're building in their scapegoat. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Give Trubisky the job. If there's a hiccup, we bring in the young gun.
But I wouldn't even do
Look,
that. I really wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go to the relief. I would not go to the bullpen.
You would?
There's no way in hell. Not with this offensive line. For what?
It's also a solid point.
For what? Let Pickett and Mason get beat up. Let them get destroyed.
Pickett, no. Let Trubisky
and Mason
yeah.
Rudolph.
Yeah, you said.
No, I said Mason.
You said Mason and Pickett.
Okay, no. I
Yeah.
mean Trubisky,
Yeah.
Mitch, and Mason.
I know what you were saying. I just making
Mitch,
sure.
Let Eminem get beat up.
Yeah.
Their last year of being under 500, 2003, 6-10. They drafted Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
Their team wasn't all that. They went 15-1.
Yes, because they had the number one defense
Correct.
in the NFL.
They did.
And they had a great offensive line, which they are missing.
Yes.
They have
I'm not saying they're going 15-1.
No, they're not.
I'm just saying
they're
is a
gonna
team
go 7-10.
that will go 7 wins, but
And
if
that's-
they
and
win
again,
9,
that's being-
I'm not going to be like shocked.
I'm giving
Because
7
I
because
still
of
give it-
Tomlin.
Yeah.
Nothing
I'm giving
else.
7 for Tomlin too.
Nothing else. Because in all honesty, they play Murderer's Row.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Their
not.
schedule is the fourth toughest in the NFL.
Listen, and you're also talking about a team that, again, a great organization. They may have the down year. They've always drafted well, and we may see history repeat itself.
In the
Who
first,
knows?
no, in the first, listen, you're not going to see history repeat itself. In the first 8 weeks,
I'm
the weakest teams that they play are going to be Cleveland, which is a division game and it's away. The Jets, who suck. The Dolphins. The Eagles run the ball out. We'll see what Hurts can do.
They're not going
And
to
the
do well
Patriots.
against those teams.
So again,
But by the way,
everybody else there is. Then when you look at the second half, the only 2 easy games really are the Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. The Raiders are going to be a fight just because it's the Raiders and they're playing okay. You got New Orleans, Cincinnati, Indianapolis at Indianapolis, Baltimore, which we alluded to earlier, twice. You got Baltimore twice, and they end the story with Cleveland. So again, I see 7 pushing it.
I'm just telling you, they'll win 2 games that you'll have no idea
By
why
the
they won
way,
them.
their last under 500 season, they had Tommy Maddox starting at quarterback.
Mitch Trubisky. Oh, sorry.
Oh, wow. History, it doesn't repeat
Pretty
itself,
much.
but it's pretty similar.
Pretty much.
But yeah,
Pretty much.
so I think we all agree that they're going to bring up the rear. But in a couple of years, they may be back to their formidable selves, right?
No
The one thing that you can hang your hat on with this is that they are a stable organization. They do not freak out. They stay the course, and that's why they have been so successful over the decades. In the NFL, they've been one of the more stable, well-run franchises. Okay, they make good decisions. They're not always flashy, but at the end of the day, they're gonna be all right.
And they got our boy Brian Flores. What could go wrong?
That's it.
Hey, baby.
That's what I'm telling you.
What
Those
could
2
go
wins are
wrong?
coming.
That
man.
was
You
a
don't know.
facetious comment.
Hell,
there,
5
but-
games. 5 games.
On that note, we're gonna be right back to close out the show. And we're back to close out the show with our weekly college football preview. Today we're going to look at the SEC football conference. Hey, real quick, Alabama, we're done. Okay, bye. Just kidding. Coach, what do you got?
We're closing out. And, well, it is. It's Alabama and Georgia at the top. Definitely.
Georgia did win the national championship last year.
I make a yoke.
And who did
I
they
know,
beat?
but I'm just saying that's how Alabama is.
And who did they beat?
Alabama.
There you go.
But I'm saying
So-
that's just how it is. Like, you have a defending champion, and you're still saying Alabama, which I would agree with. It is Alabama and everybody else.
You got to go through them. They have to sustain their success against that dynasty.
Well, I think Alabama has a lot more coming back than Georgia does. Georgia lost
Georgia lost a lot.
a ton to the NFL. Their recruiting is amazing. They do a great job, and they will be competitive. But I think this Alabama rises to the top again, and I think Alabama wins the SEC and will go to the championship. I think they have the date against Texas A&M circled, so I think that's going to be the end of Texas A&M.
That was a quick one.
No, I think he's 2 years. I think he's 1 more year away. He had a great recruiting class this year. He's got a loaded squad, but again, new quarterback or quarterbacks. So, to me, that puts them at a different perspective as far as having to play Alabama. Because yes, you get to beat up on the other guys, but when you play Alabama's defense and the things that Saban and his guys do, it changes the complexion of the game and what your quarterbacks are going to look at. After that, I have Tennessee. I really like the job that Hypo is doing there.
Interesting.
I think Josh has done a great job recruiting. The quarterback's going to be a nice-looking kid. That kid's a stud. So I think that Tennessee is the fourth best team there. After that, I've got Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi State, the Gators, which I think the Gators in another year with Billy Napier are going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the SEC. I really think they contend next year, especially with the new offense and the things that Napier is going to do there. I've got Mississippi down about 8 or 9. I think Matt Corral leaving hurts them a lot. I do think they're going to score points. Their defense is not bad. They're pretty good on defense. But I think that their offense is not going to be as prolific as it's been without Corral. I think that he was a leader. He was there for 3 years. I don't think you replace that overnight. It's the same thing that happens to me with Pittsburgh and some of these teams with their quarterbacks. After that, I got South Carolina, LSU, Auburn, Missouri, and, of course, the Commodores. Not the singing Commodores. The Vanderbilt Commodores bringing up the rear.
Bringing up the rear.
Yeah, I'm looking at Alabama's schedules. Cakewalk. Only big game for them is A&M at home.
October
The at
8th.
Texas game is the interesting game because it's at Texas early, but still.
We'll see what Sarkisian can do.
Exactly.
I mean, new quarterback at Texas. Ewers is the quarterback there. So I do think Alabama wins that game. I do want to see Texas play well. I'm not going to lie. I would like to see them play well and compete just because of how I feel about them in the Big 12. I really do want to see them play up to that competition.
Not to sound too cliche, but I do think that Alabama comes back hungry, ready to steamroll everybody, and say, "Listen, you guys got lucky because we got injured last year. That was an anomaly. We're coming back, and nobody has a chance. Okay, and by Alabama, I say Saban. He's gonna say, "Listen, Daddy's back. Don't get comfortable." All right, because what you guys saw last year was a product of an anomaly.
He just signed another extension.
Right. I mean,
he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. They were never going to get rid of him.
That guy is going to be the epitome of the day that he says, "I'm going to hang it up." I think he's dead in like 3 to 6 months.
Sadly, yeah, that's a Bear Bryant, Joe Paterno type. Those guys are lifers.
Yeah.
And once they step away from the game, it's now they do have some life because there is TV, there is a little bit more for them to do.
Right, there's different stature. There's
different things for them to do to keep them busy.
There's value for them.
I think he wants nothing to do with being a TV guy.
No, I would disagree.
He has fun.
I would disagree with that.
He has fun.
I would disagree with that because every time they get knocked out or he's the first one to jump on TV.
And that's my thing. My thing is it keeps him busy.
That's
and it
all
keeps
for
him
recruiting.
I don't disagree with that either.
I don't think he wants to retire and then be on a TV.
I agree. I mean,
he might go once in a while, but I just don't think. I think he's going to be a guy, like you said, going to coach till he can't coach no more.
I mean, the dude's
or
in his
just
70s.
disappear,
70 years old,
or just disappear with his wife.
He's my grandfather's age.
He's 70 years old.
He's 70. Yeah. You know, I think he coaches till he's 80.
He looks solid.
He finishes that term.
I mean, there's no doubt.
How long is the contract?
I don't know.
Till 2030, he's extended.
He's extended till 2030.
Okay, so 78, 79 years old.
Here's another game that I didn't realize the Tennessee game's on the road, so that could be a tough game, like you said, if Tennessee lives up to their billing. That could be that like sneaky game that they gotta squeak out. But yeah, I don't see.
Again, I just hang my hat on their defense.
Even Auburn, which obviously gives them a tough game every year, they're not that good this year. They're playing at Alabama.
And their offense
smash.
again. Their quarterback comes back, plays very. I mean, they're
the only team that's gonna beat Alabama themselves.
Exactly. Agreed. 100%. 100%. With that being said, we're gonna get into the deep dive. Our first deep dive of the season.
Hey, baby.
Gonna get our first deep dive. We got week 0.
I need a little money to sprinkle.
We got week 0 games, and I'm gonna give you some week 1 games as well, just so you can get the lines now before things start moving or continue moving because they've been moving already. As I mentioned earlier, I like Nebraska. I took them at 12. It's up to 13.
It's in Dublin.
It's in Dublin, Ireland.
What the hell?
In Dublin, Ireland.
Nebraska and Northwestern are doing there. I get it. Okay.
So, again, I think anything 13 or under, I think they win by more than 2 touchdowns. They won last year 56-7. I think the talent level is way in Nebraska's favor.
Okay. Nebraska.
I do like them. They've done a good job this year of recruiting. The last 5 years, they're 19th in recruiting. They got the number 7 transfer class. So, again, I really think that they will win the game handedly. The next game is more of one of those value bet games that I looked at. I'm kind of kicking myself because UTEP was getting 2 and 3 points and I didn't take them. It's at a pick 'em now. But I did sprinkle a little something on UTEP. I like that game. I think that game is going to be a good one. I also took the under in the Vanderbilt-Hawaii game.
Ooh.
That's another game I'm watching. If it gets to 8.5, I might take Hawaii. I know that there's a lot of negativity around them, but the head coach is a former quarterback for them, Tommy Chang. I think that's going to bring a lot of...
I think it's going to be rough sledding for him.
This is in Hawaii,
It's in Hawaii. It's in Hawaii. That's why I would take I just don't see Vanderbilt 8.5 points better than anybody.
No.
I could be wrong.
Nope.
But I really feel like...
They're favored by 8.5?
8.5. No, well, they're favored by 7.5. It's touched 8.5. It come back down to 7.5.
Insane.
I'm hoping it goes back up to 8.5.
The Commodores are going to be in Hawaii favored? Get out of here.
So, I did take the under of 54.5. It's at 53.5 in a few books. So if you can get it as quickly as possible. The money's on the under.
So the under there.
Okay. Those are my 3 plays for week 0.
That's for sure. We're going with, let me get this straight. We're going Cornhuskers to cover.
Yes.
We got the Miners to cover.
Yes.
And the under in the Vanderbilt Hawaii game.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. Yes.
Diving deep.
Yes, sir. It's nothing but ugliness.
That, like that.
That's
That's just.
the way I like
That's
to do
just.
it, guys.
I mean, that's just dirty.
The
dirty.
depth
I like-
this
I like-
man
I like-
goes to
It's
find
week
his
0,
picks,
guys.
man.
It's week
I'm
0.
listening here. I'm
It's
listening
week
here. And I'm
0.
like, okay, I'm gonna jump in. And I'm like, nope.
It's week 0,
Nope.
guy. You gotta listen.
Nope.
You gotta see how the thing. And again, and we might take Hawaii if the line is
You're
right.
giving us the next week too.
I'm gonna give you week 1. No, because lines are moving quickly, sir.
Coach.
Quickly.
Lines are moving quickly.
Well,
Coach,
give me
you
3
are
for
a
week 1, and
sicko.
we can massage them maybe. Massage them maybe
Massage 'em.
after.
I'm gonna tell you
next
right
week.
now. I like Illinois. I got them at +5.5
They're playing
against
who?
Indiana. At
Oh yeah, Indiana for sure.
Okay, I'm taking Illinois
They have a
+5.5.
bad year.
It's down to 5. I took Utah money line. They're fair by 2.5, but I took a money line at -135. And I've also taken Tulsa on the money line against Wyoming. I think Tulsa will have a bounce back year versus those teams. I don't think
This kid's a sickle.
that. Yes, sir. Yes, that's what being a degenerate is all about.
Even
That's how this
if
works.
it's not his own hurricanes, he still finds a hurricane to go with.
You got to find those. Listen, you got to look deep to find the gold. That's how it works. So those are the 2 weeks. I've got some futures. I've taken Houston over 9 for the season. I've taken UM and NC State to win the ACC. I took Air Force to win the Mountain West. I've taken Indiana -4, and I misspoke the other day. I said Colorado under 4. I was Colorado under 3. It's even uglier.
Wow.
Yes.
You're going
That's
Colorado under 3?
Under 3.
Wow.
You dirty man.
Yes, I am. I try to be. And I stay out of massage parlors.
Who's winning the title? Yo.
Sir, right now, I mean,
Or your playoff teams?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we're gonna have a Utah or an ACC team sneak into the top 4. I would venture to say it. I mean, I don't want to be Miami because I don't want to sound like a homer. I really don't.
But you think if NC State wins
I
the
think if
ACC,
NC State
they
wins
have
out,
a chance?
I think if NC State wins out, they can. It's either them or Utah. So I mean, they could be 5th and Utah's 4th.
But you
I
got to
think-
have 2 SEC teams in it, right?
I think again, I can never say no to Alabama and Georgia. I just can't say no to those 2
can't say
teams right
that.
now.
And then you
give
got
me-
Ohio State.
So that's 3.
I know.
That's 3. That's why I told you either Utah or
We're
NC
gonna
State.
leave a Big 12 champ
yeah,
out.
yeah, the Big 12 is
We're
serious.
gonna leave.
Unless Texas shocks Alabama,
Right.
and runs the table, they're not getting the 4th pick. Utah has a chance of going undefeated, so they could get into the 4th
Right.
spot. Okay, NC State could go undefeated, so they have a shot at the 4th.
But remember, these other conferences, they might not be that great if they fall 1 loss, 2 losses.
But I
here.
think Utah
Big
will.
12 still is a playable.
But listen now, Utah will get in because Utah has been consistent over the last 3 or 4 years.
But if they lose 2 games,
They won't. Utah's not going to lose 2 games.
they won't.
No, Utah will not lose 2 games. I'm telling you, Utah now has an offense. Utah has not had an offense. Now they've got an offense. They got a kid that can throw the ball. They got some receivers, and the defense is always solid. Always solid. So Utah has a great chance of running the table.
They do.
Okay.
I still think they're going to lose 1 for sure. And then it's just dicey. You got to.
I mean, again,
I don't talk about teams like Alabama and Ohio State. You pencil
No,
them
no.
in. It's
I
just
got
these
those
teams
3.
you never know.
Listen, I got those 3. I think Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State are in there. Okay? Those are my 3 that are in. The 4th slot is the one that I think could be a wild card. And that's why I said Utah, just like Cincinnati did last year. I think Utah can run it. And
Utah
NC
is a
State.
better conference, at least they make it from.
Who?
I'm saying Utah's conference is way
Correct.
better.
That's what I'm trying to say. So if they run the table.
Even as a one-loss team.
And
they
as,
can see
even
that.
as a one-loss team, they can get a shot to
But
get
they
in.
need the Oregons and the USCs to be upper echelon
Correct.
to have that
Correct.
kind of.
Oregon can't get blown out by Georgia by
Yeah.
45.
I'm going to go, my personal opinion, Georgia, Alabama, lock them in. Clemson comes back. I know you're not loving the quarterback, but like I said, I'm going to trust the coach, and I'm just going to keep it boring, man. I'm going to go Oklahoma. Just the same teams over and over every year. It's easier to throw teams that usually make it year to year. I just don't know about Utah. I don't have as much love and faith as you do. You are the deep diver, though. And I can't obviously pick who I want to pick in the ACC. That'd be blasphemy.
No, yeah, I mean,
I just can't possibly see. Obviously, if NC State beats Clemson badly and they have an undefeated season.
If Clemson wins the ACC, I mean, if NC State wins the ACC.
Don't see, they have to be perfect.
Huh? No, they don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, they do.
No, they can win 12 games. They can beat Clemson.
No.
Okay, listen now. Listen to the
If they
scenario.
beat Clemson
and they beat UM in the championship game.
And they're 12-1.
12. They could go 12.
I just don't see NC State being 12-1. That's highly unlikely in my book.
I get it. I understand that.
It's just.
But if they're able to win the ACC,
I don't think they have the respect of the rest of the teams.
I get it. And again,
because a 12-1 Oklahoma team, just based on them, any 12-1 Big 12 team feels like they would get more respect.
See, but that
anybody from the Pac-12.
And again, that
I just think it's a respecting, and the fact that the rest of the ACC needs to be better. It just can't be Miami and UM.
Okay. Again, Clemson could only lose one or two. They might lose to NC State and beat Miami.
Right.
Okay. Miami still goes because they're in different
conferences. They won't be able to play each other twice.
Right.
Yes.
So then, whatever. Again, Miami goes, NC State goes. They win the ACC. I think that's a lot on the plate. I really do. I think the UM beating a 9-3 UM.
Yes.
That lost to Clemson by a touchdown or less. To me, that's going to be a great ACC championship game. I think it gives them a good road.
Yes, they need to win. I think handily against Clemson, and Clemson still be good.
But I don't think they have to win Clemson. Yeah. I think if they just beat Clemson, listen, they beat Clemson last year. Well,
remember,
if they beat again,
this is a beauty contest. It's always been a beauty contest.
I agree. But again, if they beat Clemson. Listen, a touchdown, 10 points. If they beat Clemson by 10 points, that's a good win.
No, it is.
That's a top-notch win.
It is.
Okay, and that is a feather in your cap.
I still think they're just going to lose games they shouldn't because they're not
I understand. You're a non-believer. Yes. I understand.
I still think they can win the ACC. I just think with a couple losses on there.
Huh? Again,
the beauty is we'll see in a few months. So
that's it. And it's recorded. It's not going anywhere.
I have nothing productive to add because that deep dive was just so disgusting that it's just like, nope, got nothing.
And don't worry.
I'm gonna let it stand.
We're just getting started, bro.
I know.
We're just getting started.
That's the worst part. I'm scared.
We'll probably have.
I'm gonna have to take a shower.
We may have a couple more plays for you for week 1 next week, but
you're gonna have to take a shower after this. All right. Before we head out of here, I do want to bring up our esteemed sponsor, General Carnitas Gourmet Meats. All right, they currently have a discount going on. Summer 20, okay, 20% off all products on the site. All right, before we reload for the fall and tailgating season. So go get your meats while they still last.
Ordered some this weekend. Unbelievable. The sausage was spicy.
Some good stuff.
Oh, incredible.
That filet mignon, that secreto is off the chain.
Phenomenal. Please make sure you follow us on Twitter. We will be posting more plays and stuff as they go on this week. How numbers change and things go. The deep dive never ends.
2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.